Andy Hughes, LBC's crime correspondent, is with me now. Before we get on to what the police will be doing in this moment, has anything changed since the last news bulletin?
Well, at the moment, Greater Manchester Police is still leading this investigation. Counter-terrorism policing is not leading it, which means that this is not officially a terror attack. Now, that may change, of course. What will be happening is that the North West Counter-Terrorism Unit, they will be liaising with Greater Manchester Police, and it is not, as I say, at this stage, an official terror attack.
Would you have expected it to be? Would you have expected counter-terrorism police to be in the lead by now, or perhaps that's a silly question?
Well, every case is different, of course. The fact that counter-terrorism policing aren't leading this suggests that there might be more to this, and that suggests that it is not as straightforward as people may think.
And, of course, there is nothing we can do to stop people thinking all manner of things or indeed saying them. I won't be broadcasting any sort of speculation or irresponsible speculation or theorising on the programme. What will be the situation on the ground? We spoke to Anthony. He painted quite a graphic picture, actually, of air ambulances flying into adjacent fields, fire engines turning up, police officers armed and masked patrolling the area. What will be their priorities at this point?
Well, the GMP have declared a Plato major incident. That basically is code word for respond as if it is a marauding terror attack. So it is all resources will be being poured into this, and the obviously the first priority is to look after the victims. They are being looked after by the ambulance services and the paramedics, and then they will be looking straight away. Is this a one-off offence? Is this a one-off attack, or is this part of a wider plot? That's exactly what they'll be looking into right now.
And the people in the synagogue, the people in the congregation, as far as we're aware, the attacker didn't breach the building. That they'll be receiving care and concern. It's a strange scenario, Andy, because if the suspect has been shot, as is being reported, and if he was or she was a lone operator, then the threat level feels high, but it may actually already be over.
Yes, exactly that. But that is exactly the priority for the police at the moment. Is there more to come? They will be trying to find out who this man is, where's he from. They will be gathering intelligence right now to find out if he is a lone wolf or if he is part of a wider plot. And
if CTU were to assume leadership on this, when might that happen? When might we expect counter-terrorism officers to assume the lead on an investigation like this or an operation like this?
It usually happens within the first hour or two that it will be passed to counter-terrorism police.
And that would be announced? We'd find that out fairly quickly?
Yes, it would. I mean, I'm constantly checking my phone right now because I'm kind of waiting for an update. I text a source just before I came on air, and they told me that it is still with Greater Manchester Police at the moment, and counter-terrorism policing are not leading this at the moment.
10 minutes after 11 is the time. 4 people injured in an attack on a synagogue in Manchester shortly after, the call was made by a member of the public at 9:30 this morning. Would you expect that response to be so swift? I'm not anywhere near as au fait with operational matters as you are, but and I don't want to use words like impressed, but that's a pretty stark statistic. The call was made at 9:31. Shots were fired at 9:38.
Yeah, well, this is Greater Manchester Police, one of the biggest police forces in the country. If this had happened in a less major city or a less built-up area, then the response would have been a lot longer, I imagine. But yes, the fact that this has happened in a heavily built-up area of Manchester, then that's why the response was so quick. Anything like this, it immediately, when it gets escalated to Plato, it is just every single resource responds. And it's all these different agencies. You'll have Greater Manchester Police, you'll have the neighbourhood police right there trying to control the scene. That in itself is a big challenge. And then you will have specialist counter-terrorism officers from the Northwest Counter-Terrorism Unit. They will be on scene now trying to assess whether this has crossed the threshold into terrorism.
And how open would the dialogue be with journalists like you? I mean, you mentioned sources, so there'll be official channels, of course, but also unofficial channels where you might get a steer on what is going on and what is happening. That presumably is going to develop in the coming minutes and hours.
Well, yes, that's exactly that. That's what my job is, of course. It's my job to find out if, ahead of everyone else, if this is indeed a terror attack or not. But as I say, at the moment, it is still being led by Greater Manchester Police, which suggests that at this moment it is unknown whether this is way more serious than people may think.
12 minutes after 11 is the time. It's always a little bit difficult to know what to say. People often mock the phrase thoughts and prayers, but I'm afraid that that's all that we have sometimes at moments like this. Happily, at the moment, it would appear that the only person dead is the suspect, 4 injuries about which we will discover more in the coming days. It is, of course, rendered all the more horrific by the fact that it has taken place on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, which would explain also why the congregation was assembled outside the synagogue. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, who is himself, of course, married to a Jewish lady, has issued a statement. I'm appalled, he says, by the attack at a synagogue in Crumpsall. The fact that this has taken place on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, makes it all the more horrific. My thoughts are with the loved ones of all those affected, and my thanks go to the emergency services and all the first responders. And the detail will emerge. It is a frustration and a very modern phenomenon in moments like this, that the space, particularly the online space, will fill with all manner of information. We saw it after those dreadful murders in Southport last year, when people were disseminating and amplifying blatant lies, in some cases for political ends. It's been suggested, but there's no room for that on responsible media platforms like this one.